Also, I don't know if it's been the next half hour.
Yeah, it has. This stream, video, whatever, has been brought to you by Square Enix, who are lovely people and send me cool games, and have invited me to go check out Final Fantasy VII in
A week, pretty much.
which I'm looking forward to. It'll be... Weird thing is, I'm actually almost looking forward to the Secret of Mana
Oh, right.
game.
Are we trying that out, too?
Yeah, it's... I'm not entirely sure if it's one or the other, but
Or both.
hopefully it'll be both. Because as much as I like the idea of Final Fantasy VII and stuff, Final Fantasy games always, like, stress me out a little bit. Because I know they're going to be time-consuming. Oh, he reset. Did his HP? Nope, it didn't. Aha!
Yeah, my friends were always very avid Final Fantasy players, but I don't really know much of anything about Secret of Mana.
Secret of Mana was one of those series that... The first one never released in the US, the second one was an absolute hit, and then I think the third one released on the Game Boy Advance, which was very strange.
Mm-hmm.
All are great. Yeah, Trails of Mana remake looked neat. It did! Like, I played the Secret of Mana remake, and I thought it was actually pretty good. I never finished it because the difficulty curve was ass. And you got to that one area and it was just like... Suddenly everything just sucks. And like could one-shot me. I think I got like past it with some levels, but it was still just like, alright, I've lost time and interest for this. This is part of the reason why I do end up overplaying a little bit for like grinding and whatnot. Because I'd rather have a game be kind of easy casual than like difficult, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I suppose I always get caught up with desiring story progress, and then the problem is there have been instances where we played the previous games made by the studio and we found ourselves needing to grind before we could progress with the plot.
Yeah, well, okay, this studio had a serious problem with the last game, and, I don't know, multiple games, where, specifically in Lost Sphere, enemies would just, some bosses just had one-hit kill effects abilities, and it was just ass.
You had to resort to trading up about 5 extra levels.
Yeah,
to make
and so
sure
I
that
ended
you're
up
past
just
them.
rocking the boss, because that was the only way that I could, like, feasibly deal with his shitty, like, one-hit kill stuff. I am not sure why I attack so fast now. I'm pretty sure I couldn't attack this fast originally.
I wonder if leveling up your daemons also brings anything passive to you, or no, it really only brings it to themselves when they're your partner at the time.
Yes and no, actually. So there are benefits to leveling up your daemons. We can actually, I'm pretty sure.
But across
Zav,
the board, or just when they're in use?
as long as you have them equipped. So let's take a look at Zav. Skill tree. So
Equipped
he's got how many
or
points?
in use?
Oh, cool thing was we were actually gaining, ooh. What is that? Crusade. Lunge forward as your daemon flies into the air. Restores HP when manifested.
Crusade! No, I'm kidding.
That's cool.
Cathedral.
That sounds fun.
Now, what's the difference between red and blue?
Red means you can't access it,
Ah, okay.
I think. Okay, Pierce. Pierce defense reduce effectiveness of defending when you trigger a skill. Cool. Let's see. Anyway, let's grab Crusade. Hopefully I have enough points for it. Anyway, let's see. Decrease damage taken from the front with higher affinity. Maybe not that one. This one. No, it's not this one.
So it is giving you a passive bonus.
Yeah, so some of these are... Okay, here we go. Increases defense when your affinity is over 150. Always applies when Zav is in the party.
So by party, it's when they're one of the 4.
Yeah.
Nice. It is a peculiar way of having a party. It's really just a partnership in which you're doing the attacks and they're accompanying you, but very interesting. And I love the simplified silhouettes that they made for the characters.
Yeah. It's very Final Fantasy-y.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we've got our 4th skill. Evade for longer when jumping. I'm gonna grab that. now he's rank 4.
So are we gonna get back to the island?
Yeah,
that
yeah, we'll start going the right direction.
Ituha and Jagari went to?
Yep. I just wanted to get my boy a little bit tougher. And then we should probably also kind of do the same thing with Dia. Because I'm liking her.
Now, do they gain experience individually? So that...
Yeah. So, they actually... It's not even based on experience. It's not based on kills. It's entirely based on... it's entirely based on how often you use them. So, I was actually gaining... Lance stones. While I was just fighting the boss. Like, I hit him, and then it's like, Lance stone gained. And I was like, oh, cool. Oh, so she doesn't have anything useful. Let's see. But if I remember right, Aisha had some. Yep, we've got a whole lot of swords. Upgrade. Upgrade? Oh.
Those are all the new swords that we've been gathering in this
These
area.
might also just increase my stats across the board. Yeah, it looks like it.
Oh, nice.
Maybe?
Hmm?
Nope. Never mind. But there was something about upgrade. Notice how it says upgrade beneath each of these. I wonder how that works.
Maybe there's a crafting system later, or some kind of boosting system.
Yep. Okay, so let's switch back to Dia. Let's find our way back. Shouldn't take too long.
Trains have been awfully active tonight.
Yeah, they've been awfully active the past week or so.
And different trains, because they sound different too.
Yeah. I wonder if, you know, stuff like potential economic woes are changing how business models are working.
Maybe there's more shipping going on. Maybe they finished a logging harvest. There's a lot of
they
that
even
going
do
on
much
nearby.
logging around here anymore?
I saw whole forests felled when my family and I drove
Fair
up
enough.
the mountains. And then whole new forests that were being newly planted
Yep.
with small trees.
That's at least something
So-
I kind of like about the lumber industry here, is that it does seem like they're interested in slight sustainability. God, I would love it if,
It does make you wonder, though, what kind of, if you have essentially a tree orchard meant for logging, what happens to all the animals that decide to take up residence in there? Unbeknownst to them, the whole place was intended to be chopped down.
I mean, chances are you're probably,
Because they probably leave those stands to grow for at least, what, 10 to 30 I don't know. I know that pine trees grow exceedingly fast compared to other trees. I think they're considered a softwood as opposed to a hardwood.
yeah.
But they could be there for decades to get to the height that they need.
They usually run to other areas.
Will they be forced to flee? The animals? No.
I mean, I doubt you'd have a whole lot of, like, deer, for example.
I have not seen a deer around here, and I'm so surprised. Back in New York, my family would have them in our backyard. They would sometimes sit there all day and then go on at dusk. I think deer are most active at dawn and dusk. So they just spent much of the day resting. And sometimes they bring their fawns along. They were cute. Sometimes they would even jump the fence. If they wanted to be... I don't want to say well protected, but as far as I know, there aren't any predators back where my family lived.
Yeah. I'm not really sure how many predators there even are for deer in North America at this point. Because I would have said, like, wolves and stuff, but for the most part...
And I think coyotes might go after them. I don't know if they work in packs the same way that wolves do. I know that they tend towards smaller creatures and scavenging, but
my assumption is that coyotes probably go mostly for fawns.
mm-hmm.
More than anything else. I can't imagine coyotes would be particularly good at, like, obviously taking down a stag. Or even a doe.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was convenient. Hey, got a gun.
It was interesting. I hadn't read into it too much back when I was young, but
look at these.
More
These are
recently,
pretty.
I always wanted to understand the difference between antlers and horns, and why, say, antlers are shed on a yearly basis, whereas horns stay with, say, a sheep or a goat lifelong. And it turns out it's the material that they're made of. Antlers are bone, whereas horns are akin to the cutaneous, essentially what our nails are made out of.
Yep, keratin.
Ah, keratin. Yep.
See, what game is this? Is it on Switch? I believe it is. This is Oninaki, came out today. It is the latest game by the people that made I Am Setsuna. It's... Ooh, ow.
People are bringing up pythons in Florida.
I went the wrong direction.
Invasive species.
Are they?
Oh, yeah. People just release their snakes into the wild down in Florida, and they've been taking over. I think sometimes they even sliver into people's homes and eat their pets.
Yeah, I don't...
And then, of course, various places have feral cats as invasive species, feral dogs, various types of rodents. I mean, if you look at sparrows, I think sparrows aren't native to the United States. Pigeons aren't either.
Yeah. Well, we had passenger pigeons, or was it carrier pigeons, or...
The passenger ones were the ones that were wiped to extinction.
Yeah, because those were native to America, and we killed the shit out of them, which is obviously horrifying.
I love mourning doves.
Mourning doves are adorable. Yeah, horses aren't natives.
Yep, they aren't. I think actually pigs aren't either. But now we have all the... What was it? There was that trend going around about the wild boars.
Yeah, 52 wild boars or something like that. Such a stupid thing. My relatives, of course, went bananas for it. Don't you dare take away our guns.
In any case, cattle aren't native in the Americas. There are other good examples.
Though, you don't see the cattle really going wild, generally.
True. They're too
Squirrels
domesticated.
were brought in as well. Really?
Oh. Well, surely chipmunks are native. I think it's hilarious seeing the difference between European badgers and American badgers.
Yeah.
Because American badgers look like they could be wolverines.
Yeah, the other reason why I'm fighting all these guys is because I would like to get my hands on as many healing incenses as possible.
How did
we might not have another fight, actually.
How did we get to talking about animals? We were talking about deer, and then antlers and bone, and I don't know how we got on this topic. Itoha. thought you might follow me. Why? Why are you doing this?
It's all my fault. Higachi, Mayura, I'm sorry for all of this. You should be.
Toha, what were you planning to do if we didn't show up? What indeed? I don't quite know myself. Toha, let's send him off together. I can't do that. You... What? I've decided. I won't go back. I swore to be with him, in life and in death. Enough, Hitoha! Chigari won't be able to pass if you keep talking like that. Relax. I'll stay by his side. So, I beg you. No! Please. No, I won't do it. Please, I've made my decision. I can't go back.
I'll do it.
No, don't, Kagachi.
It's not too late. We act now.
Sorry. I'm being selfish. I know. Unthinkable for a watcher. Huh. Wait. No. It's because I am a watcher that I can't believe we'll find each other in the next life. That's why I want to see this through now, while we still share a bond. I don't want to die because I believe we'll be together in the next life. I want to die because I can't live without him in this one. I'm sorry. But I have no regrets. Live your lives as you see fit, and confront the truth with your own eyes. Is this how every chapter is gonna end?
Just every chapter ends with us killing another friend. And or person we knew.
Why? Why did you do it? Wouldn't prayers for the dead have been enough?
Our lives are built on the bonds we form with each other. These bonds are not so fragile that they can be broken by prayer alone. You must have forgotten this when you lost your humanity.
Well, not even the Watchers are immune to all this. You know how I said the cycle of death would continue?
Yep. As I'm sure you know, far fewer children are born in our lands than in times now past. Reincarnation is the very cornerstone of our society. That makes this issue one of the gravest import. Therefore, I'm gonna need a lot of babies. Chop chop.
Watch people...
It's conceivable a malicious cult is promoting a false ideology that runs counter to our basic precepts, just like the Ark did. Consequently, we can expect to see a crackdown on those voicing heretical ideas. It is vital that we do our utmost to reassure the people and support the sovereign. Keep this foremost in your mind at all times.
Watch this be a situation where people refuse to have children because they don't want to form future attachments, worry about them having to mourn them, or if no one has any children, no one can get reincarnated, and therefore everyone gets to live in the afterlife spirit realm together.
I don't
Forever.
know. I'm really interested because, like, this is... You know it's going to be kind of at least mildly off the walls here. In kind of a probably very depressing way. Anyway. Ugh, what a pain in the ass. I gotta go to Lake Lud alone. What a chore!
Lake Lud? Do you mean Lake Lud?
Can't I get out of this? The realm and its people are groaning under the weight of our ideals.
Father, people can't hear you. Keep your voice down, you two.
Don't get me wrong, I'm not speaking out against the precepts. I just think it's foolish to expect people to be grateful for death when we have no idea what happens once you pass through the veil. Sometimes it all feels so pointless, so cold. It's weird that he's the one having second thoughts. It's a lot to ask of people, just doing their best to live the lives they've got. You three, I wish to speak to you.
You need to differentiate
Yeah, I
a
do.
little bit.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm gonna
maybe-
switch him to more of a noble voice than anything else. Why didn't we just... whatever. I have a task for you. I want you to apprehend the Butcher. The Butcher? A brutal killer, already linked to 3 deaths. No connection between the victims, besides location. The killer seems good with a sword. I want you 3 to split up and sweep the back streets. Keep an eye out for the lost. Some of his victims may still be lurking around. So, first things first, and look for the lost. Myra and I will check around the palace. Higachi, you search the area around the gate.
I liked how she had a look of determination, did a little nod there at the... I feel like there probably would have been more... Oh, Kuja wants to talk? Oh, hey, Higachi. Leo just spoke up with you guys, right? You, Kushi, and, Mayura? So, what did you talk about?
Do you have time to be sticking your nose in other people's business?
As prickly as always, I see. Classic Kagachi. Ha! Am I right? Looks like I've ruffled your feathers. So, I'm out before you squawk at me. Whoop.
I do kind of appreciate the fact that we are just an unrepentant, edgy dick. Like, you know, I don't know, I guess my least favorite JRPG protagonist is always the, like, upbeat kid. Mm-hmm. Because at least, like, this character is kind of fun to make fun of.
Oh, a spirit?
Remember? Of the people he killed?
Yep.
You there. Were you murdered?
Yes. It was here. So sudden. From behind.
So you didn't see the killer's face?
I'm sorry, but no.
No need to apologize. I promise you I'll catch the killer and send you off.
Oh, there's no need.
Hmm?
I don't harbor any hatred toward my killer.
Then why remain?
I planned on dying anyway, but without my charm, I'm too scared to go.
What charm?
It's supposed to help me find my soulmate in the next life. Wait, was this the young woman from before?
Maybe.
That was given the charm? So then I shouldn't have made her sound like a weepy
Well,
older woman.
she's the weepy woman, though.
No,
Or
she is
weeping
the weepy woman. Yeah.
This again.
Hmm.
Nothing. Continue.
The peddler was out, so I ordered one special. It finally arrived, and I was on my way to pick it up when...
You were murdered. Very well. I'll go fetch this trinket for you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Where's this peddler?
You'll find her on the street near the palace.
She died, but she seems so content. How peculiar. Don't you think so, Kagachi?
No.
Do you believe in reincarnation, I mean?
My beliefs are my own. I see no reason to share them with you.
Meanie.
It is weirdly refreshing, though, to just have a character that just is kind of a dick.
He's such a meanie.
I'm trying to think of other protagonists
Dog.
like this. Dog.
It was over there with a giant nose. It was cute.
All right.
Uh-oh, what's going on over here? Oh, we haven't found everyone yet. Kagachi, buying a charm. This really is the end of days.
What do you take me for? This charm is to help send one of the lost. She ordered one from the shop.
Wait, was she one of the butcher's victims too?
That's right. We're here for the same reason. Looks like our victims had something in common after all.
Oh, did they all order charms? Wait a minute. Was this lady...
Mugging people, effectively? Luring them in with the promise of a charm and then killing them?
Well, they were already people that intended to die, so she just hastened the process? But what?
Yeah, I don't know.
Welcome, good
Your customers are dying. Care to explain why?
Oh, wait. Why should I know anything about it? It's absurd.
So, you deny being the killer.
What reason would I have to kill them? Please, this isn't funny. You'll put me out of business.
Ha! I don't think she's lying. In that case, we need your cooperation. Have you seen anyone suspicious recently? Particularly someone wearing a sword.
I have. You guys!
You dare.
Relax. Everybody relax.
Well, do you blame me? You're a suspicious lot if there ever was one. Day after day, lurking around my shop in that getup, terrifying customers and driving off business.
Sorry, ma'am. The look sort of comes with the job. It couldn't be. If it was someone above suspicion, could the killer be a watcher?
That's ridiculous.
You. There's a watcher who comes by here regularly, right? What does he look like?
Let's see. I only got a brief glance at him, but how do I describe it?
He seemed kind of cocky, perhaps? Maybe a little bit of a deadbeat? Isn't it Zale?
It's Zale.
Then
that means our suspect is... Zale.
You actually had a choice there. Interesting. If it was Kushi, he'd be like, what?
Oh! It just stabs us. Game over. Ah! Zale, I guess the description does match, but I find it hard to believe. Still, he is the only one who fits the bill. Said he was assigned to Lake Lud. Let's go find him and hear what he has to say.
Lake Lud. I'd call it Lud.
No.
For the mud.
It's Lake Lud. For the sexy things.
Wander.
Lud Lake. Home of the massive amount of skinny dippers. And boy.
It seems to have a glorious palace in the middle of it. We didn't even find any other spirits. You know what I mean? If we had found more, would they have all have pointed us in the right direction?
No, it was marked on the map. Like, that was the only spirit.
Oh.
Still haven't found the, alchemist character. Or maybe we have access to it and I'm just not using it. I don't know.
People are commenting on the butcher and gibbous. There are a number of butchers. It's a good descriptor for someone who slays people mercilessly and in a meticulous fashion. Or they could be messy about it. Depends on how many pieces.
There's something kind of unnerving about butchers. And I realize, like, I know butchers.
Well, also, you rely on them for your meat whenever you do have them.
I think it's kind of one of those where it's the classic description that makes it unnerving, not the, not the actual, like, current profession. Because, like, the guy at Whole Foods back in Kansas, part-timed as a butcher, mostly did, front stuff, but still.
Well, I don't think the guys in the butcher shop there were actually skinning, taking the guts out of,
they
and
probably got the,
they probably got the chunks of meat, and then they cut them down to size. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Now, it's very different to take a living animal and then make it into bits of meat for consumption. One thing I always wondered, and this always was unnerving to me, is that I always expected there to be more blood vessels in meat. But are they just microscopic? You can't see them?
Yeah. I think that's the point.
Because occasionally you can find larger veins, but...
This is just an endless amount of turkeys. It's interesting playing this. Because effectively each mission kind of just takes you to a self-contained zone. I guess that's actually how it worked in the previous games too. It's just the fact that we fast travel from zone to zone instead of traveling from them in linear fashion.
And there were times where you had to retrace your steps and go back to older areas?
Yeah. I guess it's just interesting because Tokyo RPG Factory straight up runs the gamut for every single one of their games, if that makes sense.
I think they like to try something new.
Yeah,
every time.
because I Am Setsuna didn't even have an overworld. Until the very end, if I remember right. Wait, no. It absolutely did have an overworld. But you were super...
I thought we had to walk from place to place for a long time.
We did, but there wasn't the airship by the end. There absolutely was.
I think the point of this, though, is that these guys are an experienced elite group, and they already have clearance and know-how and the ability to reach these areas. Whereas everyone else, it was always an arduous journey that they were taking for the first time.
Mm-hmm. And I kind of appreciate that. But, I don't know, I guess it's just kind of fun to see a studio... let's see, it has been roughly 30 minutes. Yes, it has. Let's see, it's just fun to see a studio, trying so many different things in such a short period of time. I know people like to give Tokyo RPG Factory...
Is it every other year that they've been putting out a game now?
I think so, yeah. Which I actually kind of appreciate, because they're not...
And they do get to recycle a number of assets, too.
And to some degree, I do wish that they had more unique models for, like, a lot of the NPCs and stuff.
But they did reskin so much.
Let's see. By the way, here's our casual reminder that this game was...
Provided to us by Square Enix.
Yep. I was considering putting this into the intro and outro for YouTube, but we have to include it for
streams as well.
For streams as well. I should probably mention, this isn't Square... Well, okay, this is Square Enix's, like, mandate that we have to do this, but that's entirely because the FTC...
what is the FTC?
The Federal Trade Commission, I think?
Oh.
Specifically the American one. Because they consider what I do to be, I mean, it is product promotion. And it isn't anything different from, like, a sponsored video. So, you know when you have, like, a movie, for example, and it's like, well, not a movie.
Well, imagine if you're watching a television show on PBS and this feature was brought to you by viewers like you. Thank you.
And then they'd also say, like, brought to you by, like, 1 or 2 businesses sometimes.
Ah, yeah.
Let's see.
If a particular company specifically sponsored the show.
Yeah. And so this is kind of like that.
Because there are instances where indie developers give you keys to games, but they're not necessarily asking for the sponsorship part.
Yeah. So I think the point is, it's illegal for a person to share their opinion if they have been provided some incentive for doing so. If that makes sense. So I can't start touting, let's just say Soylent. Like, say if we get a free case of Soylent from the Soylent people, I'd have to disclose that I got this free case of Soylent and it has probably influenced my decision. Even worse would be if Soylent paid me $10,000 and said, we want you to, promote Soylent on every single one of your videos, and I'm legally required to, actually disclose the fact that I was paid for the promotion. I don't think I have to actually say as much. So wait, what do you have to do? I have to disclose the fact that Square Enix gave this to me, because as long as a developer gave me a copy, it's considered a sponsored video. It doesn't matter, if they didn't actually pay me in real cash.
And sometimes they have it that you have to have a bottom bar with a persistent...
And no, I'm not repping Soylent Green right now.
Well, just in jest. Let's make it Soylent Green.
Okay, but yeah, so let's just continue this with Soylent Green. But like...
It's people!
Yeah, it's people.
Also, just watch any film with Charlton Heston in it. I grew up on so many of them.
But yeah, so the FTC, I think it was a year ago or a little bit longer than a year ago, but effectively the FTC more or less came out saying like, hey, by the way, it does not matter, whether you like it or not, you have to say that this was sponsored. Doesn't matter if them giving you a copy.
What does that mean for the people that casually give you copies of their games?
Yeah, technically I'm supposed to.
But don't people
disclose
do
this
that
for everything.
Don't they do that in their descriptions and maybe at the beginning of their series or video or end of their video?
Yeah, and like I will always try and say like, hey, the developers gave me a copy, or like, thanks to the developers for giving this to me, or blah blah blah. But apparently, the actual guidelines say it has to be every 15 minutes.
15, not 30?
Nope, every 15. But Square Enix recently said, let's make it 30. And it's not that the FTC has changed their opinion, it's that they're not doing dick all about it. So Square Enix is kind of like, alright, maybe we don't actually have to be so stringent about this.
30 seems nice because, I mean, it's akin to how most... I don't want to say most YouTubers, but I know that you've definitely adopted the 30-minute episodes.
I
So if you
do-
wanted to, you could chop things down and then have an intro or an outro specifically with a message. But because of the stream, it's a bit more difficult.
Yeah. And truly, I think the FTC guidelines are stupid. I'm not going to, like, you know, if they sat down and said, like, hey, Wander, you have to do this, and I'll be like, oh, God, fine. But I don't think I mean, I'm going to say it's so onerous, it's almost unenforceable. I think the only...
We could always hide something in the side, like in the game UI that says sponsored by Square Enix.
Yeah.
And then we wouldn't
Well,
have to worry
no.
about
You
it.
have to... It has to be obvious. You can't hide it.
But no, by hide, I don't mean just to make it look like everything else. If you understand what I mean.
I think they might actually look down on that.
Oh,
Yeah.
alright.
Like, it straight up has to, like, stand out.
It has
Was
to
one of
flash
it.
across the screen.
Well, and for multiple seconds. I think it was like 10 seconds if you're going to do something.
What if it
So,
was
what happens
persistent?
if you do not mention it's sponsored? Nothing, but I prefer to keep my goodwill with Square Enix because they're very nice.
But then what about the discussion surrounding it? Isn't that going to be frowned upon?
No.
No?
No. I can talk about this. I'm under no NDAs to not talk about this situation. It's just a matter of, like...
But the interesting thing is, you were discussing earlier how it's almost as though you're informing the audience of this so that they're under the impression that you're inclined to give a favorable spin, if you will.
Yeah. But I think it's mainly one of those that this is just a catch-all, so that you don't have YouTubers. Well, I mean, no, I think this is just one of those, like, kind of stupid overreaches, because there are people that absolutely, there are people that will absolutely just, like, be paid for something and pretend that their opinion is their own. If that makes sense.
And our opinions of this game aren't our own? As we're playing it, as we're experiencing the story and
I think
fighting off demons?
well,
no,
I
not
think the
demons,
point
spirits.
is they don't care.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so that's just straight up locked off. I can't go down there anyway. Let's see. Back to cancel the delay after shifting. That'll help.
Loom. Shifting takes less time. That's interesting. Have you gotten a lore spot with her yet?
Yeah, I just got one.
Ah, okay, nice. Because I do want to see what her story is.
Yep. So I will actually... Well, I mean, obviously I'm going to leave you to that. She got a lot of ranks, but then again, I've just been wrecking people with her. And we have some skills, specifically Dusk. Okay. No, he has no Spear Stones. So actually, at this point, Dia's caught up. I should probably go back to using Aisha.
I'd say Aisha.
Aisha? Yeah. I don't know if I'm going to use her as much, but I should probably use her. Just because. But yeah, I don't know. Hopefully at some point
this
it'll just kind of
frozen?
relax fully, but...
Or is it crystal? We're walking on the water. And it seems as though these ruins have been submerged. Because there are all these pathways and such. They look like at one time they were airborne.
Oh, she actually does a lot of damage. But then again, I'm at, like, peak affinity mode, so go figure. Okay. Then I don't know. I just figure I should probably bring it up. I don't think I'm ever going to do this with any other series, nor do I think I will ever be required to by anybody else. But...
Well, what about any future Square Enix game?
So, until Square Enix relaxes their own policy, I will continue to do so. I don't think they've ever checked, but... I like them... I mean... I like them quite a lot as, like, a developer and a publisher. Like, I know a lot of people have been, like, really hard on Square Enix lately, being like, man, like, Square Enix is just, like, kind of going down the tubes, and I'm like, I know. It's just that they're not...
I think it's because of the lackluster response to Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah, but it's like, you gotta realize, Square Enix is so far removed from just a... so far removed from just Final Fantasy at this point. And honestly, to some degree, they've never been just Final Fantasy. That's just,
I wonder, did the animation part of their studio dedicate their time to the Spirits Within film? Is that how it worked, or...?
I don't actually know. I don't know about the inner workings of...
Because I'd be interested in knowing how that came about.
Spirits Within was interesting. I actually really wish Square Enix had kept making interesting movies.
Because the only other movies they had come out with were ones that recapped, or was a continuation of Final Fantasy VII. Because there was, what? Was it Revenant Children? Or... I think that's what the movie was.
Yeah, Advent Children.
Advent Children.
Sorry. That was it. Yeah, it was similar. But yeah, I actually really liked Advent Children. It was not the most interesting movie, and I think I was kind of grumpy at it at the time.
I was a bit confused by it because I'd only ever seen the Final Fantasy VII characters, but never actually knew their backstory.
Yeah, and straight up, it was just a gratuitous mess of just like, here's some like Sephiroth clones-ish. They're mad, we gotta fight them again, also they're doing bad things. Also, Cloud is extra moody now, I don't know. It was a little on the baffling side, but at the same time, it was pretty fun to watch. And like, I would love to see more movies where the plot really does take the back seat and just the animation studio just goes full ham. Like,
what?
Yeah.
Why did I like my plot?
I like plots too, but sometimes it's just kind of like, I would love to watch
I don't want it to be persistent action all the time, though.
Well, okay, so we've got a...
Also, wasn't there oh yeah, another movie was the pre-Final Fantasy 15 movie.
Yeah, Kingsglaive. I actually liked Kingsglaive. I mean, in retrospect, it's kind of dumb, if only because of how Final Fantasy 14 ended up. Because, like, Kingsglaive was probably my favorite part of... Oops.
It's a shame when the movie is better than the story of the game, but yeah.
I kind of understand why, though. No, I don't. I really do not understand.
It's the car trip.
Yeah. I should probably sit down and play through it at some point, but it's just like... I think I'd rather play through Dragon Quest XI properly.
Let's talk about this game.
This one?
So, we've discovered that Zale is the Butcher. But why? What motivation does he have in killing people?
I mean, he is just kind of a dick.
Also, were the bodies taken? Or were there just corpses on the street and people were like, oh, they were killed?
Don't know.
Instead, people were just, oh, there's spirits about. Oh, DM memory. Filth. That's what my father called anyone who wasn't family. I hated my father. My mother died giving birth to my little brother. Father didn't even bother going to her funeral. He cared about one thing, and one thing only. The prosperity of our noble house. My father was constantly surrounded by sycophants wearing inscrutable... What? I never felt more out of place than when I was with him.
Yeah, you gotta go faster.
Was it inscrutable masks or something?
I think so.
I tried so desperately to appear noble on the outside. But inside, there was another me who tried to thwart those efforts. One who sneered at the fools I called family. I felt as if I might be torn in half. Yet I fought against me, the me that wanted to rebel. I fought to be the ideal child my father and my family desired. I pretended the other me didn't exist. And I searched for the reason why I did.
It was inscrutable smiles, by the way.
Smiles. Okay. So there were pretenders.
Mm-hmm.
That were just trying to appease her father in the noble house.
I mean, kind of makes sense.
Mm-hmm.